Welcome back to From the Pages as Wrestling Eye, June 1989, comes crashing open with an editorial that has no patience for balance or politeness, asking bluntly whether the wrestling wars will ever stop and answering itself by laying out an industry fueled by ego, television money, talent raids, and promoters willing to scorch the earth rather than share it, framing wrestling not as sport or entertainment, but as a constant state of conflict where loyalty expires the moment a better offer appears, and that bitterness rolls immediately into the feature, demanded by the fans themselves. Lex Luger versus Sting, written like a relentless argument that refuses to resolve, circling again and again around the idea that history proves impossible matches only stay impossible until championships, money, and pride force them into existence. The article invokes Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, friends and allies who swore lines would never be crossed until they were, positioning Luger and Sting not as enemies but as professional reflections, climbing the same ladder toward Ric Flair, obsessively weighing every element, Sting's speed, leaping ability, leg strength, conditioning, and long match stamina forged on the road against Luger, raw power, thick build, durability, and Polish learned inside the Horsemen system, retracing Sting's training under Billy Anderson and Red Bastien, the Blade Runner's partnership with the man who became the Ultimate Warrior, the UWF tag success with Rick Steiner, then flipping to Luger's education under J.J. Dillon and his United States title win over Nikita Koloff. The piece digs into the Miami parking lot betrayal, the slow transformation of Luger from muscle into thinking predator, voices like Eddie Gilbert tipping the scale towards Sting's finesse while still acknowledging Luger's ability to dominate shorter wars. The argument looping relentlessly back to the same conclusion that this match would not be hatred but professional collision, respectful, scientific, and violent, something so massive it would demand a stadium like the Superdome or the Los Angeles Coliseum just to contain the reaction, insisting that even Hogan versus Savage would feel secondary if this ever hit paper. And right here, before the magazine turns the page, if this kind of wrestling history is your thing, the arguments, the rumors, the excess, the ads, the attitude, make sure you hit like and subscribe right now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. From the Pages goes through these magazines page by page every time with no shortcuts and no summaries. And if there's an issue, a feud, or a wrestler you want covered next, put it in the comments and we'll crack it open before. The magazine snaps hard into a message to Brutus Beefcake. Change now or else, written like an intervention disguised as journalism, openly warning how quickly credibility dies when gimmickry replaces wrestling, reminding readers of Beefcake's legitimate athletic background, his tag history, his size and strength, and how the WWF character machine can trap a performer long after the cheers fade, using the Ron Bass feud as evidence of what Beefcake looks like when he locks in, recounting the Spurs tearing flesh, the blood, the stitches, and the rage. The article walks through the hair versus hair stipulation, the sleeper hold finish, the scissors and electric razor aftermath, framing humiliation not as spectacle but correction, then tightening the screws by presenting Kurt Hennig as the real measuring stick, listing his championship's precision and reputation, warning that barber props and posing will not survive against Mr. Perfect, before flowing into Bye Bye Red Rooster as Terry Taylor sees the light, dismantling the gimmick line by line and rebuilding Taylor through his resume across Memphis, Texas, and the UWF, comparing his confidence and technical ability to Ric Flair himself, recounting the Bobby Heenan partnership that imploded on national television, the loss to Tito Santana, and the public firing of Heenan. The magazine positions Taylor as a man clawing back towards seriousness in a business that punishes novelty, then escalates into a chat with the champs as Ric Flair and Barry Windham speak from inside a Horseman camp under strain, Flair deflecting questions, snapping at suggestions of weakness, dismissing Ricky Steamboat's pinfall while clearly rattled, Windham answering with restrained irritation and quiet menace, and J.J. Dillon insisting everything is under control even as tension bleeds through every line, followed by Vince McMahon revealed a long copy-heavy profile tracing McMahon's upbringing, strained relationship with his father, military school, early failures, bankruptcies, the Cape Cod Coliseum disaster, and the willingness to gamble everything repeatedly. The article tracks the 1982 takeover of the WWF, the conscious breaking of territorial rules, national television expansion, pay-per-view, celebrity involvement, Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania, merchandising, balancing grudging admiration for transforming wrestling into a national spectacle, against biting criticism portraying McMahon as authoritarian, dismissive of expertise, and dangerously powerful, the man every promoter must orbit whether they like it or not, before pivoting into the ultimate warrior, feeling stronger every day. Tracing Jim Hellwig's path from Power Team USA and the Blade Runners with Sting to a deliberately paced WWF ascent, Hercules as the proving ground, confidence built match by match, and the perfectly timed SummerSlam moment where Honky Tonk Man throws out the open challenge. The Warrior ends the reign in 31 seconds, framed not as accident but execution. Then the magazine grounds the spectacle with the Big Apple's wrestling schools, where sweat, repetition, and hard mats replace television lights, followed by wrestling with the past, present, and future stitching legends, current stars, and hopefuls into one continuous chain. Hacksaw Jim Duggan framed as grit and connection, the Irish Leprechaun celebrated as compact intensity, the dog collar match between Johnny Rods and Mondo Clean described without glamour as chains, punishment, and survival. Meet Dina Zara positioned as dominance without novelty, and then the magazine overwhelms the reader with relentless, uninterrupted mail order advertising read as printed video cassettes available in VHS or Beta PAL format for foreign customers. The ads roll on without mercy. International women's tournaments featuring Jaguar Yokota Mimi Hagiwara, Devil Masami, Leilani Kai, Irish Velvet McIntyre, leg hold submission battles under submitters suffer. Tournament tigresses from Scotland, bikini boxing and wrestling, fighting females, winner-take-all books, rip-roaring catfights, collector's cartoon classics, pricing repeated until it blurs. 1 tape $60, 2 tapes $110, 3 tapes $150, 4 tapes $176, 5 tapes $185, all 6 $198 postage and handling. Broken down again and again. Foreign orders add 30%, checks payable, addresses, repeated subscription offers promising savings off the newsstand. 1 year $24, Canada and foreign $30. The pin-ups slow the pace page by page as full stops in the magazine's rhythm. Pat Tanaka, Kerry Von Erich, Ricky and Bonnie Steamboat, Wahoo Mac Daniel Bret Hart, Jerry Lawler, the British Bulldogs, Barry Windham, Kat LaRue, Nikita Koloff, Rick Rude, Eddie Gilbert, Brutus Beefcake, followed by the Wrestling Eye pin-up of Michael Hayes, Phantom of the Ring feeding rumor and paranoia. Fan club columns reinforcing obsession. Official ratings freezing hierarchy into print. Letters to the editor returning the final word to the readers. Closing Wrestling Eye, June 1989 as an exhausting, argumentative, copy-heavy artifact of a wrestling world addicted to conflict, promotion, and excess. Where nothing is subtle, nothing is quiet, and everything is for sale.